Would you go to page 24? And we're going to talk about headers. And these are interesting. You can see key components, key questions, key issues. They help you approach the purpose of the session. And if everybody didn't pick up on it, your overall purpose should stay the same, but if you have multiple sessions, your purpose of the session will change for each one. So you want to anchor that overall in place and then start looking at what are you going to do in the particular session. And the permission meter gives drive to headers. So you can see what they are. They're key questions, key elements, key divisions on page 24. Pathways to accomplishing the purpose of what you're there to work on. And they help make everything manageable to work it. If you just take a topic like, let's go over to any one of yours, and Brad, let's say you would just take yours and try and talk about it, you can't. You need to get it manageable so you can begin to bite into it. And that's what headers do for you. Now there's many sources for them. A primary one is listening to the client. Frequently they have them in themselves, but they don't know they have them there. And they'll talk in terms of questions. What we need to do is figure out what are ways that we can get people really up to speed within their first 4 days on the job. Header, ways to get new people up to speed their first 4 days on the job. Really complex, isn't it? But you have to listen to the client and they'll give them to you. Background gives them to you. You might say on yours, just convert your purposes into headers. I'd have to look at them closer to see it, but sometimes that works for you. And you could take parts of a process. What do we need first, second, third, fourth? And that could open it up. Pre, during, after. That can open it up. You just want to get things moving on you. And so there's different types of headers depending on your permission meter. If you look down at the bottom, see where it says create type headers, headers that help you create, tend to start with how to or ways to. Tend to start with that. They open up the subject. If it's lower on the permission meter, your headers tend to start with what. Because what it will follow, normally a list or a set of elements or something that has kind of a logical progression will come out of those types of headers. Now the exception is if you put what are ways to, because you don't need the what are in front of ways to. Ways to and how to are on the create side, and those will be up high on the permission meter. On the other hand are the analytical headers that come out of your lower permission meter. And ones that are in between, just see the questions that help unleash that. Now, there's a lot of references down there in the book, and we've included in both books hundreds of headers for you to creatively, well, just steal them, borrow them, adapt them. But for today's sake, do this. Don't go into the references. Try and create yours. Get the skill of doing it before you start to modify. And everyone should have 3 to 5 headers based on the number of purposes you have. Now, that could be overkill where you have, like over here, you have 4 headers. You might just want to have 1 or 2 for yours. But over here, Pat, where you have 1 purpose of your session, you may have 3 to 5 headers that'll flow with it. Some are quite naturally, they naturally flow out of a logic. Others you'll create. So my big hint on developing headers is don't debate them, get them down. Get them up, look at them.